Hey, good Monday evening, folks. Today is August 12th, 2024. We're talking about Tropical Storm Ernesto, which developed earlier this evening out of PTC number 5, becoming our 5th named storm of the year. Impacts are occurring now, and that's one reason why they did tag it. National Hurricane Center did tag it as PTC 5. That enabled them to issue watches and warnings for areas already being impacted. It just didn't have the winds or the closed center of circulation yet to be upgraded to a tropical storm and get a name, but impacts are currently occurring, and it should steer clear of the mainland United States, which is some good news. First, let's start with some climatology. Typically, when we go back over the last 30 hurricane seasons, our 5th named storm occurs on or around August 22nd. Today being the 12th, we're about 10 days ahead of time here on the season, but our 5th named storm already present out there in the basin. Here are the stats on it: 40-mile-per-hour winds. The threshold to become a tropical storm is 39 miles per hour or greater, so we are just barely there. But you can see very well defined here on satellite imagery as it's drifting towards the northern portion of the Leeward and Windward Islands and eventually towards the Antilles. And Puerto Rico, U.S. British Virgin Islands, is going to be impacted by this system over the coming days as it moves west at a pretty good clip, 28 miles per hour. You remember Debbie was moving at 5 to 10 miles per hour for a good chunk of its life, especially off the southeast coast of the United States. But areas already under tropical storm warnings include Puerto Rico, British and U.S. Virgin Islands, Bermuda, Antigua, and Guadeloupe, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla. All these areas here seeing impacts imminently from tropical storm conditions, meaning winds of 39 miles per hour or greater. We've got the winds gusts, we've got the rain, flooding potential there. But thankfully, it shouldn't strengthen too much as it's heading over those areas. So we're talking up to 50, 55, 60-mile-per-hour winds. It should stay south of hurricane threshold, which would be north of 74 miles per hour. After it moves over the U.S. British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico area, it should take a turn to the north just before it hits Turks and Caicos. But at that point, just barely under a hurricane status. And then as it builds north, it strengthens to a hurricane, potentially as high as a Category 2 hurricane with winds up to 110 miles per hour as it heads towards Bermuda. This is on the far end of its 5-day cone, so uncertainty is quite high here, and you can see why when we look at all the computer models. Each line here is a different computer model. Pretty good consensus taking it generally west, then a northwest pole over Puerto Rico, U.S. British Virgin Islands, and then a turn north. But where that occurs will determine if it eventually does end up heading right over Bermuda a lot. Look at how large the spread is here, although all of the models do keep it far off the eastern seaboard. However, a few outliers are farther to the west outside of that cone that you saw from the National Hurricane Center, but a good consensus does keep it near Bermuda as we get towards this weekend. So how does the GFS and European model see things here? Well, as we jump ahead to tomorrow night, we've got the GFS showing a system just south of Puerto Rico, then both show a system lifting to the north and curving out to sea. There's Bermuda there. Both models show a intensifying hurricane likely at this point, moving at or just near Bermuda, and then due north could be an impact for Atlantic Canada, the Canadian Maritimes as we get on into the early parts of next week as potentially a very large, very big wind field storm moving up towards Nova Scotia during that time. So that's the latest on Ernesto. We'll continue to update you as we go through the rest of the week. If you have any questions, you can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, and on TikTok. We'll see you again tomorrow.